Billy Napier may have had a ton of success at ULL, but he has not had, success as a head coach anywhere in the NIL era. I mean, period. Right. I mean, it's just, it is a different thing. Look at how Clemson has performed, outside of really kind of a pop-up season last year in this era. It's just different. And Jon has embraced that. He's been at the forefront of that. So he's a guy that is adaptable. I promise you, he sounds like a linebacker from Alabama who played at Kentucky. I promise you, David, he is the smartest human being in any room that he is in. He is always the smartest guy in the room. He pretends not to be. That is the only thing about him that may be inauthentic, but I promise you he is the smartest person in any room. And I think it's probably says a ton about what he thinks of Florida and Florida's place in this era of college football, that he would leave Tulane for Florida. And, I think
and I'm glad you brought that up, Jake, because that was the question I asked him yesterday in the press conference. It was, what assurances were you getting from Florida to make you either want to leave Tulane or not go to Auburn or not wait for Ole Miss or any of these other jobs out there? Because look, I'll go back to the coaching search. It was Lane Kiffin, and that was the top target. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And for the Florida side, it might have been, well, maybe the alignment wasn't there. Maybe working for Scott Strickland wasn't there. So it was a pertinent question on my end to say, well, why is it attractive to Jon Sumrall? And I'm glad you brought that up, because now from what you just said and told us right here is he's probably going to do his due diligence in finding out, hey, this is a job that I can go be successful at. And so hearing what you just said, pairing it with what I asked him yesterday and how he answered it, was like, hey, I wanted to make sure we were getting alignment. And that's, what we really needed to hear after some rumors of how, the coaching search went. Hopefully everybody's, telling the truth there. But from your reputation of Jon Sumrall there, it certainly seems like, hey, he gets it. And he's going to be asking the right questions that Florida is moving in the direction they need to move in.
I can promise you, I can bet you my next 50 paychecks that Jon Sumrall would not have taken this job if he did not believe that in 2026, 2027, in the late 2020s, you can still win a national championship at Florida, period. I think there are some coaches out there, and it's all about, the paycheck and the size of the chair, right? Like, of the pecking order of the conferences, which one is the logo that's on the sleeve of my, right? And I can tell you that when he was the head coach at Troy, right, and making $1 million, if he really wanted to be the head coach at Mississippi State, SEC school, and quadruple his salary, or wanted to be the head coach at Duke, quadruple his salary, he would have. He could have. Instead, he chose to make less money to come to Tulane at a place where he knew he could be successful, because he looked around and he saw the resources that we had. And I'm so thankful for that, because him choosing us validated that we were not a pop-up school, right? The Willie Fritz thing was not a flash in the pan, that we were capable of sustained success. And this is a guy, I said he's the smartest guy in any room he's in. He sees the college football landscape incredibly well. So it validated, hopes I had about where we were as a program 2 years ago, that he picked us. It continued to validate, what I felt about us as a program when he turns down, reportedly, doubling his salary to go to North Carolina, or maybe an opportunity at UCF or at West Virginia last cycle. I genuinely believe that based on those decisions, he was not leaving Tulane for a place that he was not leaving Tulane for anywhere other than somewhere he could go and contend for the national championship every year, right? He wanted to be at Tulane because it was a place where he could contend to be in the college football playoff every year. And he wanted a path to do that. And the 12-team format with the 5 auto bids gave him a path to do that. And both years, Thanksgiving, our playoff hopes ended not until Thanksgiving last year. We're into December and they're very much alive. Like I said, winning in. he would not have picked Florida had he not felt that he could win a national championship there. And I'm sure you have, listeners who are going to hear this and say, well, of course you can win a national championship at Florida. Obviously, right? Okay, well,
it's been some time.
Well, A, it's been some time. B, you have not appeared in the college football playoff rankings not even for a single week since COVID. And C, I hate to tell you this, blue blood fans, not Florida specifically, just globally.
Yeah.
Welcome to the era of parity. In my opinion, in terms of resources, right, there are 136 FBS programs out there. School number 10, and just in resources, right, is closer to school number 40 than ever before. Now, in terms of resources, schools 1 through 5 may be further away from school number 10 than ever before, and we can talk about that another time. And
it's like recruiting rankings.
I mean, well, it's what you have done in the past matters less now, in my view, in college football than ever before. And if you're someone listening to this who doesn't believe that, take a look at what's happening with the Penn State search right this very moment. Right? We live in a world where Vanderbilt could get into maybe not after the rankings tonight, but Vanderbilt could get into the college football playoff. Indiana is going to be in their second consecutive college football playoff. We live in a world where Texas Tech is going to get a bye in the college football playoff, a school with no history of success. But you know what they do have? They have some oil billionaires who want to be really good at football, right? Their history no longer matters. Tulane is going to be ranked in the college football playoff poll for the 4th year in a row. That this is, again, we won the Cotton Bowl in 2022, finished top 10 before John got here. This is a school, David, that until this year had not won 7 games in 4 consecutive seasons in the 123 history of playing football. And then we won 8 games for the first time or 8 games 4 years in a row for the first time. And then now we're up to 9 games, right? Because we won 9 last year. It's a school that from 1935 till 2022 did not win 6 conference games, but 1 time in 1998 when we went 12-0. And it's a school with no history of success. Resources now in this player empowerment era with unlimited transfers, with NIL, with rev share, that is the name of the game. And I'm telling you, I would not, be so bold as to have this conversation, try to have this conversation with John, but I'm just telling you that by virtue of him strongly considering and taking your job, that should tell you what he thinks about the resources you have. He's not just taking your job because you're an SEC school and you can pay him $7.5 million. Okay. I can promise you there are other SEC schools that were open this cycle that would have loved to have hired him if, let's say, Florida didn't and Auburn wasn't interested as they reportedly were, and Ole Miss wasn't interested as they reportedly were, that he would not have taken because he does not believe that you can win a national championship, I would guess, at X school or Y school. Florida, on the other hand, clearly is somewhere he thinks you can. And, that the guy's never lost anywhere. So I'm going to have to, I'll be surprised if he doesn't, or if he doesn't have a tremendous amount of success.